given that we're biological creatures, why do we need meaning structures? Like, it seems like our default setting as humans is so far away from what's optimal for flourishing and pursuing wisdom and meaning and flow. Like, why do we have to do all this work? Like, is it just a mismatch with our genes being there to make us effective and not happy? Is it a weird quirk of having a phenomenological experience of being like a human? What's going on?
Well, there's a lot there. There's 2 points I'd want to pick up on. There's one is I think there's an implicit standard, and I don't mean this in any accusatory fashion, but I think there's an implicit standard behind your question that I'd like to explicate and perhaps challenge. And then we also face the issue that we are not just biological creatures; we're cultural creatures, and that has an important impact. But let's do the first one first. Why does meaning matter so much? Well, we really tried in psychology for 40 years to not deal with meaning. It was the behaviorist period, and we thought, no, what we could do is we could just look at observable behavior and the observable properties of the stimulus and just get those chains, and we had Watson and we had Skinner and we had literally 100,000 of hours on working with the rats. And it turned out it doesn't work. And that's why there was this thing in the 50s called the cognitive revolution, because by and large, you don't respond to the physical properties of a stimulus. You respond to, well, I'll use it vaguely here and then we'll make it sharper as we go along. You respond to the meaning. So I can shout fire, which is an acoustic stimulus, and you'll run from the room. You can see yellow flame, totally different stimulus, and you'll run from the room. You can smell the smoke, totally different stimulus, and you run from the room. Why are all the behaviors the same, even though the stimuli are so different in their physical properties? Well, because they all mean the same thing to you. But here's the way to get at the meaning. They're all relevant to you in a particular way, right? Of all the information available to you, right? And this is what you have to get right from the beginning. There is an astronomically vast amount of information available to you at all time, both without in the environment and within your long-term memory. It's never full. You never go, nope, can't take any more in, right? And so you have a vast amount. And yet out of all of that, you have to do this coordinated search between these two and zero in on the relevant information. And what's happening, right, for you or even right, any other organism, when in all those instances of the fire is you're grasping the relevant information that you need in order to solve your problems. So you are framing the environment in a particular way. So when I say you're responding to the meaning, I don't want you to hear like semantic meaning. That's only one species of what I'm talking about. We do use words to zero in on our attention, but way before, and all the other organisms don't use words, we had to develop the intelligent capacity to pay attention in the right way. And so that ability is fundamentally adaptive. And I don't mean just that it makes us more adaptable. What I mean is how it unfolds is in an adaptive process. So what I've proposed is, and this is following up on the work of Evan Thompson and work I've done with other people, that our ability to do that is deeply analogous to how evolution works. Evolution works by creating a large variation in the population, right? And then it puts selective pressure and it winnows it down, and then the variation comes out of that again and it winnows it down, and you get, right, this feedback cycle of reproduction with change. I argue, in the theory that I've worked, and I'm talking about this at many levels, complex and recursive, so don't hear it overly simplistically. Your brain is doing the same thing. It's opening up attention for various possibilities. That's why you get distracted. But it's also slamming your attention in to try and select. That's why you can get fixated. And you're constantly trying to go between fixation and distraction, and it's your daily life. And you say, why can't I just get to the perfect place? Because there is no such thing. And that's the standard I want to challenge. Right? You can get an optimal grip. You can get an equilibrated state for right here, right now, in this environmental context. But all species go extinct. To pick up on the biological analogy, there is no final solution to how you should shape yourself to the environment or how you should shape the environment to you. There is no final way. So we have to, I know this sounds paradoxical, but we always have to be perpetually hungry for insight and for right? That adaptive evolution of our cognitive fittedness to the environment. And so and one of the things I think we need to give up, and this is where I get into many arguments with a lot of people, we need to give up the idea of perfection as what we're seeking. That what we're trying to do is get to some final state where, like, why is it so difficult? Why can't I just get to the final state where everything works and I have that optimal fit? Well, you would have to be in an absolutely unchanging in all dimensions environment. And you know where you don't absolutely want to be? You don't want to be in that environment. So you're right. You're basically committed to the fact that relevance realization is an open-ended, evolving process. And what I've been trying to do in some of my work, especially with the help of Chris Masterpietro, is to shift our sense of what is most meaningful, what I call sacredness, off of perfection and onto this ongoing evolution of your evolvability. So that's how I would answer the first part. The second part is, as I said, this isn't just going on biologically, right? Yeah, so biology has shaped me. So I'm a particular size. So notice my hand is shaped because parts of the environment are shaped so that I can actually pick up parts of those environment that are graspable to me and I can make tools, right? And so biology and evolution have shaped me. But you know what culture does? Culture teaches me how to use objects that it has shaped so we constantly fit together. But culture isn't standing still either. And then, as I just said, your own dynamic cognition is constantly doing that too. So I think when you put it that we're cultural beings, you have to see that we are this goes back to Plato. We are operating at, although it also in modern work by Christopher Honey, great neuroscientist, we're working at many different scales because adaptivity isn't a one-shot deal. There's what's adaptive now. There's what's adaptive, a little bit broader context, what's adaptive, right? And those are in trade-off relationships, right? So I'm wired to gorge on sugar and fat, and I eat the chocolate cake. But the problem is, in this environment, chocolate cake is too available. And so I better look for more long-term goals of health, right, et cetera. And so that fact that we exist at multiple levels, that we're cultural, and that our adaptivity is an unfinished, you can't finish it. This is not a finishable project. That's how I would suggest you have to reframe it.